Hello everyone, welcome back. We will continue on our discussion on statistics in data science. So we have already covered different measures, okay, measures of central tendency, measures of variability, measure of location. Okay, now we are going to discuss on conditional probability. So probability, you understand that what is the likelihood of an event or an outcome, right? That is the probability. And conditional probability is when the likelihood of an event, whether it will occur or not, if it is dependent on the occurrence of another event. That means if the event A has occurred, then event B will occur. So that is the conditional probability. We can just define conditional probability with this syntax that this one is P A, this hyphen and this B, this syntax, this is actually the probability of A when the event B has occurred, means whether the event B has occurred or not. Based on that, if the probability of A event is getting changed, then it has some conditional probability. Okay, so this conditional probability of A on dependent on B is equal to probability of A intersection B. Okay, so this syntax, this means, this one means that the probability that both A and B are occurring. So in case that both A and B are occurring, that probability is defined by this term, and this is divided by probability of B. So that is the equation for calculating the conditional probability of A on basis of the occurrence of the event B. Okay, so that is the conditional probability. Now, when we are discussing on conditional probability, there are two important terms that we should know. First one is the independent event. So, when events whose outcome does not influence the probability of the outcome of other events, if that is the case, then we say that the events are independent. So, if you just consider this equation, probability of A on B equal to probability of A. What does that mean? That probability of A remains the same whether the event B occurred or not. So, here the event A occurrence does not depend on the occurrence of B. Similarly, in the next line, from this equation, we can understand that the conditional probability of B based on A is equal to the probability of B. That means whether B will occur or not, and what is the likelihood of the occurrence of B, that does not depend on the occurrence of A. So, if these two equations are true, then we can say that the events A and B are independent of each other. That means A does not depend on B and B does not depend on A. Then comes the another term that is called mutually exclusive events. So mutually exclusive means the events that cannot occur simultaneously. So in that case, probability, conditional probability of A, which is dependent on B, is equal to 0. So what does that mean? That A event will never occur if the B event has occurred. It's just like mutually exclusive, means when B occurs, then A will not occur, and when A occurs, then B will not occur. If these two conditions are true, these two equations are true, then we can say that the events A and B are mutually exclusive of each other. Now, based on this conditional probability, there is this Bayes theorem. So, what does Bayes theorem says? It says that the probability of event A given B is equal to the probability of B given A times the probability of A over the probability of B. So, this statement can be described with this syntax. So, you can see here that probability of A means conditional probability of A dependent on B, which is equal to conditional probability of B dependent on A is multiplied by probability of A and divided by probability of B. This theorem is actually will help you in the machine learning algorithm. So as we move on, you will see. So this is a very important theorem which actually help us in finding the conditional probability of different events. So here we'll conclude our discussion on the basics on fundamentals of statistics and probability, and in the next unit we'll move on to the introduction to the Python programming language, because if we have to write any code for our the data analysis and the pre-processing and the processing of data, we'll do it through the Python language. So we'll first have some familiarity and some coding practice using the language Python in the next unit. So for now we'll close it here, and thank you very much.